Thank you. Here you go, lady.
How do I turn the thingamajiggy?
Oh, you can move the laptop around. Just use the arrow keys.
Arrow key. Look at that.
Open my eyes. All right.
Hey.
We ready to do this?
This is Jana. Jana Banana.
That's right. Jana rhymes with banana.
So I remember her name when I met her at Train the Presenter, where you were an animal.
I was an animal.
So you're in for a treat. She's an animal. Everybody say hello to Jana. Oh. We've got to do numbers. We'll do numbers after. Everybody sticking around? Everybody give you here all day? I mean, give you here at the end? Love you guys. We'll do them at the end, okay? Go, Jana, go. Hey, write your contact information. What are you doing?
Oh, I get to write on the board.
Is there markers all over your hoo-ha over there? Yes, there are. Look at this.
In my office.
Right here.
Oh, there. Okay. I don't, they. All right.
Look at you.
All right. I'm Jana, rhymes with banana. That is actually how I introduce myself to my clients because I have a very strange name and nobody remembers it. But everyone remembers it now. And you will too. Jeanette actually is my last name. Isn't that funny? I paid $8,000 to get that name back. Those who know, know. All right, there's my contact info. Okay, so this is my first time teaching Ignite, and they tell me that it's recorded. So I apologize to everyone who's watching this. I'm going to try to go by the book, but I added lots of notes too because I'm a very practical person. And I like checklists and I like systems. You guys know nothing what to do. And a lot of what they're telling you to do in the book like really has nothing to do with working with buyers and sellers. So we're going to actually get into the nitty gritty also. Okay, what do you have questions about so far? What do you not understand so far from this class, right? You're overwhelmed? It's like, oh my God, I had to learn all that license law and I had to learn about deeds. And then it's never going to come up again.
I have so many questions. I mean, I have a load of questions for today, but specific to, I've got a buyer that wants to do an offer today, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And it happens to be my brother, which makes it more complicated. And it's a 1950s home, remodeled. Lots of disclosure issues that I have questions on. Then I've got a seller, possibly, I still haven't gotten him to sign a document this week.
Okay.
So many questions, and then I know I have to disclose, and it's one of our agents, and I know I have to disclose, I should, well, I do for code of ethics. I have to tell them that I'm representing my brother. I've been Googling it, but I'm going to anyway, right?
Yeah, you just say that you're related.
Yeah. And then
to the buyer. It's not a big deal that we all represent our brothers and sisters.
On showing time,
mm-hmm.
So they want you to respond with comments on how your buyer feels. Doesn't that give away negotiation power? If you say, oh, they loved it, excellent, they really want it.
No, that is actually, okay, let me add that to my list. No, questions. It depends on what you say. So a lot of time, we will get it. Hold on, let me write that down.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't respond yet. I didn't want to give away what I,
Okay. Let me add that too, because we are going to talk about showing time.
Okay.
Who in here has actually been working with buyers or sellers so far? And who is just, okay, so pretty much everyone in here. Okay, good. All right, where's showing time under here? Okay, feedback. You're getting what? Strung along?
I'm just getting strung along.
Yeah, that's real estate.
I'm trying to close this listing, but he refuses to meet me at the property, and he keeps wanting me to drive to Charlotte, and I don't have him signed off as my seller yet. So, he signed the agent disclosure and we're in communication. He seems willing. His family has COVID here that lives in his townhouse.
Yeah.
But why would I drive back out to Charlotte?
Why does he want to meet you in Charlotte?
That's where he lives.
Oh,
So,
yeah, we'll go meet him.
I mean, I met him once, but should I go a second time? I said I prefer to just wait and meet you at the property. So I can see
Oh,
you.
no, because someone like me will swoop in and steal him from you. You go
Okay.
meet him and lock him down.
Okay, so go out there and get him.
Yeah, you meet with him. You drive to Charlotte as many times as you need to.
Okay.
Get that locked down. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We chase. We do not attract. Yeah. Like opposite when you're dating, you're supposed to like attract, but with real estate, it's the exact opposite.
Okay.
We chase, we chase, we chase. We hustle.
Okay, so I'll be going to Charlotte. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whatever you have to do. Yeah. You want him to know that you're willing to meet him and do whatever you need to do.
I just needed tips, I guess. I've been reading how to get him to sign it. It's been challenging. I mean, he really likes me. And we've talked about, right, that we're going too far without me getting him to sign.
Well, you just got to like reassure, we'll find out what's ask him. What's keeping you from signing today? Yeah. You have it all ready and printed out and everything?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we can talk about that when we get to working with sellers. Okay. Let's do this thing. All right. I got my instructor notes. Okay. So again, Jana rhymes with banana. So I've actually been a realtor. It's this very week. I started real estate school 9 years ago. And back then we weren't allowed to do it online. We had to actually go into a school. So I sat in York Tech freezing my butt off. And for 2 weeks, listened to a really old man talk about deeds and all that stuff. And I sat in the back row playing Candy Crush. So, because I have ADHD. So I apologize in advance for all this stuff. But yeah, so I've been a realtor for 9 years. Today we're going to talk about working with buyers, working with sellers, working with clients, a little bit of hitting on working with other agents. And then I want to end with like all of our questions of like what you don't understand about anything, because I have a wide breadth and depth of knowledge. So pick my brain. It is an endless abyss of details and facts about real estate. And then if you're really lucky and I'm in the mood, I will tell you about my first year in real estate. It was a very Jerry Springer type story. So it's really interesting. You guys might get to hear it if we feel like it. Maybe you guys would be too tired. So, but what that story will show you is that if I can be a realtor who's semi-successful, I mean, I'm not like the top agent. I'm not like Stacey Sauls. I'm not like those others, but I'm not the bottom agent either. I'm actually a single mom of 3. They're 20, 18, and 7. Surprise. That's part of the story. You'll see him in the office. His name is Caleb. He has a mohawk right now. He thinks everyone who works here is his auntie and uncle. And in the summers, right, Amy, you've met him, right? Yeah, he does. He is a Gemini rising, and he will, there is no stranger danger with that kid. And you know why? Because he's been out showing houses with me since he was 2 weeks old. I literally had him in the carrier as a newborn. I'm recovering from a C-section, hauling this kid around because I got to sell houses because I got to make money to support my kids, right? We do what we have to do when it comes to real estate. So he thinks it's normal to talk to strangers. And he does. So I have to be extra vigilant that he does not get kidnapped. But the office is his home. And just about every morning before I take him to school, he's like, Mom, rock, paper, scissors. If I win, I get to go to the office. And I was like, that's not how this goes, buddy. That's not how this goes. But I love that he's able to grow up seeing like agents and working and powerful women and all that stuff. So that's changing his story as a little boy. And I like that. And they're very child friendly in this office. Any single parents in here? Okay.
I feel like I have time for that. 18 hours a day for days.
Well, husbands are kind of like children. I mean, I don't know. So yeah, if you do have kids, they do not care if you bring them in. So just know that. And the kids love the vending machine next door. I can tell you that. So, all right. Also, the irony is that I actually flunked out of Ignite twice. So, right, they say that, but I did. Due to life situations. So I love to tell that story because I think it's kind of funny. And Ignite has changed a lot since I was an agent. Because I remember coming into one of the Ignite classes, like it was a long time ago. So Alex Krasnoff, who's teaching tomorrow, and Fayaz, who taught on Friday, I was in Ignite with them. So we're oh geez. But I just came back to Keller Williams a year ago, so I kind of wandered the world around and came back to KW. What does that tell you? Yeah, just stay here. Yeah, the grass is not greener on the other side. I can promise you that. So when I took Ignite, it was really weird. People did not talk about anything that we needed to know. And there was a former agent here, and she was talking about marketing, and she spent the whole time crying because I don't know why she was crying. I just remember her crying, and I'm like, I paid for a babysitter to listen to you cry because apparently they had just closed some deals and were able to pay off a $60,000 credit card. Well, how does that help me? Because I'm going into debt paying a babysitter to be here to listening to your brilliant marketing, right? So I'm not going to do that. If y'all pay for a babysitter, no, your kids are in school because we're in school right now. But, I'm going to make this worth your money, okay? This is going to be worth your time. All right, let's see. I was thinking that we would talk about working with buyers and then take a break. JB, are y'all guys taking breaks? Are you taking lunches? How's this working?
We just go through
Okay. I mean, I've had 3 kids. Like, I have to have bathroom breaks. That's just how it is.
So fun break, but if you need one.
Okay. Well, then we'll play that by ear. If I get in the flow, if I'm moving with spirit, maybe I won't stop. We'll see. Okay. But I might need a snack break because my blood sugar drops, and I'm gonna need one of my meat snacks.
Yeah.
Woo! All right. Okay. I broke my ankle back in November. It's this one. I'm probably going to stand like this because it starts hurting after a little while. So they did not give me a stool.
Did you have to pedal around in one of those units?
No. No, please. It wasn't that bad. I trail run and I tripped over a root and then it broke. Yeah, I'm a runner. I like it. Okay. All right. Today's goal. Okay. So basically today we're talking about the period of you getting a buyer under agency agreement up to the point where we're making offers. And then tomorrow, Alex is going to actually give you the nitty gritty on making offers and all that stuff. Have they talked to you about a buyer consultation? Did you guys go through any of that? Seriously?
We did, but didn't really touch on it much. We not really touched on getting a
Everybody
buyer.
just says you have a buyer's, do a buyer's consultation.
But they don't tell you what a buyer consultation is.
And say, hey, this is usually what you should have, what you should do, what you should talk about.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. I did not prepare for that, but we will dive into it because buyer consultation, I think,
We're
is.
all guessing. That's why she's guessing.
Oh.
We kind of
Oh.
know.
Okay.
We got no guidance.
Okay.
So we're just kind of...
Sandra, forgive me. I'm going off book. Okay. Let's. Okay. We can do this. But we talked about open houses, right? Okay. And have we been working open houses? Okay. I built my business on open houses. Okay. And open houses have changed a little bit because it feels like buyers have kind of changed a little bit. So I'm not working, and I'm a little bit burnt out, so I'm not working open houses like I used to, but I did literally build my business on open houses, and it is possible. You do not have to pay for leads. Get out there and hustle, right? So my goal for an open house is I meet with I'm talking to someone, I have them sign in. On my sign-in list, I have them check whether they're working with an agent or not. Maybe they lie, maybe they don't. Most of the time they don't. Okay, most of the time they're extremely honest. If they have an agent, they put down, ask for the agent name, ask them if they want to buy, if they need to sell. And a lot of people will and what I tell them is, hey, the sellers, we just need you to sign in because the sellers need to know for records, they want to know who came through their house. And so for the most part, people will fill in information when they think it's, respectful for the seller. And then as they wander through the house, I'm looking at my sign-in sheet and I'm like, oh, they don't have a realtor. Well, they're fair game. Versus, am I going to spend time on someone who has a realtor? No, they can look around. Why am I going to waste my time? I'm trying to get someone who doesn't have a realtor, right? Okay, so I follow them around the open house and I'm talking to them and I'm building a rapport with them. We know how to build rapport with people, the conversations and stuff. Okay, and my goal is to get them into a buyer consultation. It's not for them to use me as a realtor, it's to get on my calendar scheduled for a buyer consultation, whether that's meeting here at the office, whether it's meeting at the Panera. I love the Panera. I don't like Starbucks as much. I like Panera better. Where are you guys from? Are you all Rock Hill, Fort Mill, Clover, all over Charlotte? Okay. Okay. So, a nice public place because we don't want to get murdered. That's number one. Don't get murdered by the people. But usually you can pick up the vibes of people at the open house, which is why I like that better than internet leads, because internet leads, you have no idea if you'll get murdered. You can't really tell over the phone. When you're vibing with someone at open house, you can really feel like if they have bad intentions, if they have good energy, bad energy, and you tend to connect. So you get them to the buyer consult. My buyer consults take about 2 hours. So has anyone discovered Etsy yet? Etsy is amazing. Has anyone discovered Canva yet? Okay. We can't live without Canva. Just if you don't know how to use it, go ahead and learn because that's going to be like your number one tool. And it's totally worth the money. I pay for it every year. It's totally worth the money. So let's Etsy. Okay. There is a seller on Etsy called Elevated Agent. And she has a website. You don't get this deal on Etsy, but you can go to her website. Maybe it's elevatedagent.com. I don't know. It's something like that. You can probably get to her website from her Etsy store. She has where if you sign up for her newsletter, you get a free template. And she sells buyer guides, listing presentations, newsletters, social media stuff, and it's like up to a $20 value. Well, guess what? On Canva, I can't say this is recorded. But, if stuff gets like shared amongst people and we like, and if like you get it and then you accidentally share it with your friend and maybe they get a template and they accidentally share it with you, like, I don't know, stuff like that happens sometimes. That's illegal. You would never do that. Never do that. But Elevated Agent is a great one. There's all kinds of graphic designers and creators on Etsy. You can buy the buyer consultations and just brand it to yourself, right? Change out the name, make sure you got the Keller Williams logo all over it. What I did? I bought like 10 of them and combined different bits and pieces from each presentation and created my own. So then what I do is that I will have a slideshow that's in Canva that you can hook up to the TVs in here if you meet in here. And then I actually have booklets I give to people. And I go through my buyer consultation is basically we start out with talking about the mortgage process, all the things that they need to know about mortgages, right? The different kinds of loans, what kind of down payments, what the costs are going to be, because my real estate business is based on education. And I want my buyers to be knowledgeable because when they're knowledgeable, they are more likely to make offers because they're not afraid to, right? Now, I remember when me and my ex-husband, when we bought our first house, I don't know, it was a million years ago. The real estate agent we used, he didn't tell us anything. We had no clue what kind of down payment we needed. We didn't know what closing costs were. We did not know anything. And I swore, I was just like, if I'm gonna be a real estate agent, I'm never gonna put someone through that again. I make sure they know up front and understand the buying process. And that's what I do. And those guides you can get off Etsy are really, really great to help do that. So I talk about the mortgage process, buyer agency, right? Because we got to talk about them paying our commission. Are we comfortable talking about commission? We're worth every penny. Yeah. Let's see. I talk about this is where I set expectations of how I'm going to communicate, how I expect them to communicate with me. And I also do kind of like FAQs. What if you find something on Zillow? Can I go to an open house? Can I go to new construction? Like questions like that. I go over that. And then we also do like a wants and needs analysis, right? What do you need versus what you want? I want granite countertops. I need countertops. I can always switch those out, that sort of thing. So that's the buyer consultations where we go over that. Sometimes it's difficult to pin people. It's usually easier for first-time home buyers to pin them down to a buyer consultation. It's a little bit more difficult when it's like an older couple who've bought and sold several times. I do try to remind them that, hey, even since the point of time that I've been in real estate has changed its processes several times. So I know since the last time you bought, things are probably different. Let's talk about things, because we talk about, earnest money, due diligence. Do you guys understand all that? Okay. You think this is strong enough for me to sit on? Okay. There we go. All right. Oh, this makes my ankle feel really good. Okay. So that's where at the buyer consultation is really where I kind of like lay down the law on all that. Has anyone discussed any of that part with you? Okay. Well, what I would say is, because I would have brought a sample buyer thing with me. So I apologize. I didn't realize that. Who talked about the buyers? Like what have they talked about exactly with the buyers up to this point?
I mean, they told us about, talking to them about wants and needs and set the expectations, but they never go over it where we create our own so we know what we're trying to create.
Okay. So a lot of Etsy is probably your best bet, because they have every designer has such vastly different buyer consult type style things. So I would just kind of look through the different shops and see which one resonates with you and go for it. That's probably the best way, just for like having printed materials.
And when you suggest it gets 5 stars.
Oh, I've got so much of her stuff. I mean, I pretty much recommend most of them. I mean, it's really great. Don't break the bank. You can find stuff for $3 or $4. A lot of times, here's a secret tip. If you like heart, like they got these little hearts when you sign in. If you like it, and wait 24 hours, a lot of times they'll send you a coupon. Sometimes they'll try to send you a coupon trying to get you to buy it. So, if you can wait 24 hours, see if that works. You can get an extra.
It's a digital download, I'm sure, right?
It is a digital download. They what?
They have to bounce it all the time, right?
They do, yeah. Yeah, so I have like my favorites, and I keep an eye out, and or split the price with somebody. I don't know. It's
yeah, if you don't want to wait,
however.
a lot of them like every day will be like.
Yeah, I buy spreadsheets on there too, like budget trackers and stuff. I love it. I love my spreadsheets, and their spreadsheets are so pretty, so totally worth it. Okay, let's see, where are we on this thing? Okay, what am I supposed to say? Today we're going to move in our Transact series. Okay. We talked about that. Okay, the agenda for today. So success with clients, success with buyers, success with others. Oh, look at that. Okay. Success with buyers, success with sellers, success with co-agents, recaps and AHA's daily success system. Okay. So, all right. Virtually every top producing agent we have ever worked with has a deep and almost inherent sense of service. They have a servant's heart and place their buyers or sellers' real estate experience above all else. They are always thinking of service. So yes, that is exactly right. When we're helping our buyers or sellers, we have to think of we're like the Ritz Hotel. There's actually this book that was written on like the concierge 5-star service. And the better service you can give, the better these people are going to come use. My business basically at this point is referrals from past clients, and then past clients who are constantly like having kids and need bigger houses, or all their kids are grown and they need smaller houses. But I have a pretty high turnover rate of people who still use me because, one, I stalk them on Facebook or Instagram. Highly recommend it, right? 2, I keep up with them. But also I give really, really good service and follow up with them, learn who they are as people. And so they keep coming back. So yes, we're in it for the money. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I love making money. Money lets me do things like go to the beach. and run races. Races are really expensive. Have you looked at 5Ks lately? They're like 50 and 60 bucks. That's a lot of houses so I can run these races, right? Pay for the life I want to live.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I don't run.
I gave up my Dunkin' Donuts so I could like run the races, start making my own cold brew. Oh, Panera. Panera is amazing because they have this sip club, and for like 12 bucks a month, you can get unlimited drinks. If you live near Panera, like they are losing money on me. I swear to God. I swear to God. But here's the thing. The ladies at Panera know me. Oh, it's the realtor lady. Oh, you're really dressed up today, realtor lady. You got a closing? Yes, I do. You want to buy a house? Yes. That's how, like, I've helped my CVS manager, like the night manager, because I was always in there at night, buying whatever. And when she got transferred to another store, she actually like, oh, I've been looking for you. She goes, I need to sell my house. I need you to come out, right? Because I talked to her at the CVS. This is how you pick up stuff. I did not grow up here. I am not from here. My family is not from here. I did not marry a boy from here. So I started at square one. I have to talk to people at CVS because I didn't go to high school. You know what I'm saying? It is possible. We cannot look at the people. Okay, tunnel vision. We cannot compare ourselves to the people who grew up here. It's not fair. They're like, oh, our granddaddies went fishing together. I don't have that. All my people are in Tennessee. So maybe if I moved to Tennessee, I'd be able to do that. But I'm here in South Carolina. But we do this by like talking to people and networking with people. So if you have kids, I got a lot of deals from when my daughter was in ballet. And instead of dropping her off and leaving and like sitting in the car and reading a book like I wanted to, because I'm highly introverted and I don't like talking to people. I forgot to mention that. I'm an introvert. So real estate is kind of my hellhole. You have to talk to people. But I would force myself to stay at the ballet class and make friends with the moms. And then I have gotten so many deals just from them, buying and selling through the years. So my Caleb, my 7-year-old, who I was talking about earlier, he just started jujitsu. And so again, I'm like, okay, because my older two, all those parents are like, their kids are in college now, right? And they're looking at downsizing. So I'm talking to a bunch of them about downsizing. They want to move to the beach. But Caleb is 7. So this is a whole new group of parents. And all the moms in jujitsus are like hauling babies around, right? Well, what happens when you have babies? You need bigger houses because baby crap takes over the whole house, right? So I'm forcing myself to stay in jujitsu so I can like learn who these moms are and talk to them and, listen for the cues. Oh man, I just wish I had more space. I can help with that, or be like, let me tell you a funny story about this buyer I'm working with, just kind of learning what they're doing. So, and that's how you pick up like deals without having to like really pay for them. Oh, funny story. So I'm in jiu-jitsu on Saturday morning, and Caleb, you're going to meet him one day. If you ever come in the office, you'll be like, who is this strange little boy who's like talking to everyone? He stands up in front of everyone and with a very commanding voice goes, my mom lets me play violent video games. He's playing Fortnite and all his little friends are playing Fortnite. And I'm like, oh God, thanks, kid. Thank you so much for throwing your mother under the bus. So I'll still get real estate deals, but now I have to like work against who is this mother? This is, type deal. So yeah, kids will throw you under the bus. A lot of times you can tell your kids, hey, are any of your friends moving? You can ask them that. Mommy will buy you a game on the Nintendo Switch if you tell me, if you get it for me. So that's how that is. Okay, where are we? Okay, so customer service. So really when it comes to, it really comes down to communication and how are you communicating with people? Yeah, there we go. Communication up to the point of being under contract is important. When you're under contract, it's like your best friends because you talk to them almost on a daily basis for a little bit. And then after the transaction, we tend to forget about them. So I know they'll talk about this in later classes, but you definitely want to try to keep up communicating with people. So it provides a strong foundation for sustaining relationship, sets and manages expectations proactively throughout the transaction, creates peace of mind for your clients, and enhances your credibility. So in the buyer consultation, I actually set communication expectations. Did anyone go over like what do you think would be some good expectations when it comes to communicating? Whoops.
Well, the time you're gonna be calling.
Mm-hmm.
How they prefer to be communicated with.
Mm-hmm.
How often I'm gonna be communicating with?
Okay. Yeah. And that's something I actually kind of ask them about. Some people want to be told every little thing because they are micromanagers, right? And you have to figure out who your client is. Are they the micromanager, or are they just basically the person who just wants the generalized update? And that's basically, you have to ask them. You at the buyer consultation, part of that is I tell them, okay, my phone hours are basically 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I will return phone calls and texts, usually between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. But then I also tell them, hey, usually at 8 a.m. though, I'm stuck in the middle of the car line dropping off the munchkin, but I will get back with you as soon as I can. I also tell them, because I've had clients who work third shift, second shift, they're sleeping during the day. And so, and also I'm really bad about this, thinking of things at 2 a.m., right? And then forgetting about the next day. So I tell them, my phone is on do not disturb at night. If you need to text me a question at 2 a.m., go ahead. It's not going to bother me. I'll see it the next morning after 8 o'clock and get back with you. It's totally okay for you to do that. I tell them text is best, that phone calls, is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they feel more comfortable communicating over Facebook Messenger. You just have to kind of ask them and feel them out what they want to do. If you're dealing with a couple, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, you want to find out who the person is, which one of them wants the updates who you're going to be communicating with. And then also, you want to include both of them in communication, but a lot of times the husband's like, I don't want to know. She'll deal with all of it. Or vice versa. The wife's like, I don't want to know. He'll deal with all that. So you have to ask them like what it is that they want, what they expect. Buyers and sellers are a little bit different when it comes to communicating, because let's say a buyer's house goes on the market, it's live on the market. At that point, maybe it sits on the market for 30 days. Is that something you call them every day about? No, but maybe you tell them, hey, I do updates on listings and feedback and things like that every Monday or every Tuesday, whatever. It's good, especially when you get multiple things under contract and you're working with multiple buyers, because it's going to happen, guys. Okay, 6 months from now, you're going to have multiple things under contract and you're going to be working with multiple people and you're going to be like, oh my God, how do I do this? So you need to go ahead and pick a day, whichever day you like. For me, it's Mondays. I like Mondays, where I communicate with people across the board. It's my check-in, whether it's sending a text, hey, just checking in with you, that sort of thing. That's when I do. If I have any listings that are sitting, knock on, that's metal, that's drywall. Knock on wood, I don't. I would communicate on Mondays, hey, here's feedback from the weekend. Here's, how many showings we've had. Here's what the market's doing. Here's what I recommend. We need to reduce price, or we need to do this. We need to do that. So for me, I kind of designate Mondays for that. One of the biggest complaints I hear not that I steal people from their former realtors, but they kind of get abandoned by realtors they've used in the past. And I actually asked them, hey, have you worked with at the buyer consult? Hey, have you worked with a realtor before? And most of the time they're like, yes. And when they say yes, I'm like, well, what did they do that you hated? Like what really, trying to set expectations. So I don't accidentally do the same thing. And I take notes because I will forget. Taking notes is important. Does anyone use Trello? Trello is free. And I have all my client pipeline set up in Trello. And it's a great way just to keep track of everything. So look into Trello.com. It's pretty awesome. Trello.com. And if you do decide you like Trello, you can find me and I can show you how I have mine set up. No problem. Okay. Other things I do at the buyer consultation, besides, of course, going over like the buying process, mortgage process, is that I do kind of like showing FAQs, right? The questions that people have that they don't know they have. So what do you think are some common questions people might have about showings, especially first-time home buyers? They know nothing.
What to look for.
What to look for?
You know, if they're buying their first house, when you walk through, kind of some stuff to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Could you use their home inspector?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking like more basic, even like about like we haven't looked at anything. Okay, so I'll just get into it. They are going to be on Zillow and Realtor.com. They are going to stalk. I don't care if they have a KW app. I don't care if they're getting MLS emails. They're always their first default. They're going to end up on like Redfin. They're going to end up on Zillow. They're going to end up on Realtor.com. They've probably been on there, and all the time they're going to be like texting you stuff. I just found this on Zillow. We don't get mad at that. Okay. We're okay with that. What we want to do is we want to train them how to send you that information properly. It's going to happen. Okay. So what I say at the buyer consultation is I say, okay, you find something on Zillow. Do not click on the contact for more information. Your information gets sold to like 50 different realtors, and then they're going to harass you. They're going to stalk your email. They're going to stalk your phones. It's going to drive you crazy. Do not click on any of those buttons. I can get you all the information you want. Send me a screenshot of the address. Send me the screenshot of the address, okay? That's what I tell them. And like text it to me, and I'll look it up, see if it's something that you might like, set up the showing for you, all that stuff. So any of that, you just want to make sure that they're not getting spammed by other agents, because they get really confused. They don't understand what is actually going on with Zillow and Realtor.com and all that stuff, right? That their information is actually getting sold. If they see a for sale by owner, I tell them, hey, yeah, I absolutely will work with for sale by owners. What I want you to do, if you see one, is you're driving by, take a picture of the sign with the phone number, try to figure out the address as close as you can, street, whatever, send it to me. I will contact them, talk to them, find out the information, and set up a showing for you. No problem. Now that point is when you call the for sale by owner, and then see if they're paying buyer agent commission and all that stuff. Has anyone talked about for sale by owners? They're just not as common as they were like 9 years ago.
I might be working on one right now.
Okay, so before you show anybody anything of the house, there is a buyer agent compensation form that you want the for sale by owner to fill out before you bring anybody in that house. Yeah, it's a form on DocuSign somewhere, and it's a compensation form, and you get them to sign it, fill it out, what they're willing to pay, and then you show the house. That's the only way you are legally guaranteed to get paid a commission. They can lie. Okay, so make them sign the form. All right. That also goes for agents who are working outside the MLS. Like, let's say your client finds something on Columbia and you're not a member of the MLS down in Columbia. Technically, they do not have to share their money with you, the listing agents. Do y'all understand that? Again, the buyer agent compensation form, you would want them to fill that out first. Okay, because the agreement with the MLS is that it's cooperation within agents in the MLS. They're not talking about agents outside the MLS. Okay. So that buyer agent compensation form, keep it in mind. It's your best friend to make sure that you get paid.
Can you repeat that? Because mine is in Lake Norman, so.
Oh, so I don't know. So I rarely work North Carolina. I need to start working North Carolina. I'm sure North Carolina has something similar to that. I couldn't tell you what it is. So when I refer to things, it's going to be South Carolina. You can ask any agent in the office here. You guys know that you can ask like the agents in the office and they're going to help you, right? Yeah, they are super friendly here. So you're good to go. Or you can ask John. Okay, let's see. What are some other FAQs? Okay, so we talked about dealing with Zillow. Open houses. I tell them, you are welcome to go to open houses. Open houses are usually worked by agents. Those agents are looking to pick up buyers who are unrepresented, or, however you want to phrase it. Because if you pick them up in an open house, maybe you don't want to say that. But you just say, just tell them, hey, I'm working with Jana at Keller Williams, and they will leave you alone. That's all you have to do. Okay, new construction. Oh, new models, new construction. That is messy because some new construction neighborhoods won't pay you as an agent if you don't show up the first time with your people. Isn't that crazy? So what I tell people is hey, if you want to go visit a model home, let me go with you. Because, and this is true, a lot of times when you get in with the builder's agents, they will constantly send you emails with we are giving away free blinds. We are giving away this much in incentives and that much of incentives. Bring your people. They're only emailing people that they have on their list, right? So I tell people, hey, I get notified of special deals that could save you money and upgrades and things like that, but I have to go with you usually for you to get that. So let's just go together. If for some reason you don't want to go together, or it happens the stars align and you end up there by yourself, absolutely do not give them your name and do not register, because you will not be eligible for any of those upgrades if they have any of your contact info. Give them a false name.
But if they're with you,
they're with me in person, then I'm able to register them as my people. So they're eligible for all that stuff, and then we're eligible to get paid. I'm telling you, some builders are loosey-goosey, and some are if your people step 1 foot in here without an agent, we're not paying you. Now, the tides have turned a little bit because new construction isn't going as quickly as it once was. So the builders' agents are being a little bit nice, but for a while there, the builders' agents, they were drunk on power. It was crazy. It was good because people were lining up in lines to put deposits down on lots that were being released to be built on, because there was such an inventory shortage, and people were putting down $30,000 deposits. I'm thinking Bailey's Run in Rock Hill. You guys know where that is, off Hands Mill Highway by the DMV. Yeah, that was one of those. Those agents were but then 6 months later, the market turned, and all of a sudden I was getting phone calls from the agent. Hey, what about those buyers? Oh, you remember my name. Nice. Okay. So,
I see this building site in Myrtle Beach. They didn't even have a house built yet, and their sign was sold out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was happening for a while here. And the builders were charging crazy deposits to hold things. And it's not like that right now, because right now builders are giving away crazy commissions to get us to bring people. So it's an interesting market. Real estate's interesting. It's like riding a surfboard. You just kind of have to ride with the waves. It's up, it's down. It's trying to knock you over. It's calm, it's peaceful. We just go with the flow. Okay, what are some other FAQs? Here's something I love to do. I give them permission to fall in love with the first house they see, because they need permission. I tell them at the buyer consultation, you have my permission to fall in love and make an offer on the first house you see. If you love it that much, let's go for it. It's okay. We don't have to look at 10 other houses and risk you losing that one. Okay? Sometimes that's just what they need to know that it's okay. They can say yes to the address, say yes to the address on the first one. I'm very much the type of personality. I know it when I see it, and I go for it. But not everyone's like that. So sometimes we just have to hold their hands and give them permission to do that. I also reassure them that it is never a waste of my time to look at houses, because I'll have, I'll have friends call up all the time. Hey, Jana, something just popped up on Zillow and I really kind of want to look at it. I don't want to waste your time. And I'm no, you're not wasting my time, because every house that I look at, whether they buy it or not, gets added to my internal inventory of knowledge. And that's how you learn the market, right? There's neighborhoods where I swear to God, I've been in every single house just over time. And it's kind of funny when I go into a house, I'm we saw this 3 years. I showed this to a buyer 3 years ago and it's on the market again. And I'm they changed paint colors. Okay, that's cool. Or they upgraded this, upgraded. So that adds, so I like to reassure people that, because a lot of people feel guilty, they're wasting your time. You don't want them to feel like that. I've also shown houses to a lot of friends just because they really, really wanted to see it. And what do you know? They fell in love with it. And next thing you know, I'm listing their house and we're buying that house. So again, we don't say no. We're hustlers, right? Right, gotta hustle.
So should you bring your seller to competitive listings in the market?
No, I print out pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, sellers don't want to do that. That's just wasting their time. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times, if it's houses in their neighborhood, they've already seen all the houses in their neighborhood, right? That's actually, I might be listing a house soon where they're thinking, someone put on the neighborhood Facebook page that he's a realtor and he's going to be putting the house on the market in a couple months. They're like, oh, we want to buy that house. It's bigger than ours, but we love the neighborhood. So we might be doing like a lateral, like they're moving 2 doors down and then they'll work with us as I sell. Anyways, it's the whole thing. It's never the same. So, but you just want people to understand that you're willing to do anything and we can always work things out. Don't feel guilty about calling me. Let's go look. Conversely, a lot of times I will suggest a house like, I know these pictures look awful because I don't know why they took them with their cell phone. And I know these paint colors look horrible, but I think we really should go look at this house. I think you'll like it. And if not, it was just fun to go look at houses. Women love to look at houses, right? We love HGTV. I can't watch HGTV anymore. It just irritates me like no end. I used to love it. Now I hate it. But normal women who aren't in real estate love to watch HGTV, right? So they love to go look at houses. And I've actually sold a lot of houses where they fell in love with the house. I was just like, I think you might like it. And they're like, we never would have thought we loved it, but this is exactly what we wanted. So you just kind of have to keep it in mind. They're talking about previewing houses. Yes? You guys are supposed to be previewing houses? Has anyone talked about that?
I mean, when you're working with your buyers, right, you go check out the house before you leave.
Oh, you're not gonna have time for that. Like part of your like daily, I'm a new agent, what am I supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be previewing houses. Has anyone talked about that?
Gotcha. Kind of. Like we should be on our MLS every day.
Looking at the hot sheets?
And looking at the homes in the area and
Okay.
checking out houses.
Well, if you go under showing time, there's actually an option, like there's a little drop down menu and it says like showing, first showing, second showing, inspection, blah, blah, blah. There's actually something that says agent preview. So let's say you're trying to, especially if you're working an open house, let's say you're working an open house and there's, let's say you're working an open house in Baxter Village, right? There's always like 3 or 4 houses for sale in Baxter Village, right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you want to do is that before you work your open house, like a few days before, set up agent previews to look at the other houses in the neighborhood, because a lot of times what's going to happen is people are going to come to the open house and they're going to be like, I really like this, but I wish it had the primary bedroom on the main floor. And you're just like, whoa, wait a second. I just previewed this house that has a primary bedroom on the main floor. And you can be like, well, if you want to hang around, like if you want to meet me after the open house, we can go look at this house real quick. If I can get you in, would you be willing to do that? Are you working with an agent? You know, they're working with an agent. That's a no-no. Don't do that. But so that's a way sometimes you can kind of get someone interested too, and you become more familiar with the inventory. Also, it helps with like comps for future houses that you might list. Well, now when I started out in real estate, what they told us to do is like each week pick a neighborhood that has like 4 or 5 houses for sale or whatever, or an area, like a mile radius type thing. Just go preview houses. So you just do agent preview under the showing time, and a lot of times they'll have like comments to agent. You'll see that. And what I put in comments to agent is, hey, I have a potential buyer who's interested in the area. I just want to check it out before I show them to make sure it's the right one. And schedule it for 10 minutes. You're not going to be there for an hour. You know, and even if you want to like tell the agent in the comments, like seller doesn't have to clean up. I don't care, you know, like that sort of thing. We're not trying to put the sellers out, get them excited, but that's a great way to kind of learn your area, especially if you're trying to do like niche properties or anything like that. Like, let's say you specialize in 55 plus communities. You're going to want to see everything that comes on the market, not just in pictures. And then after a while, you kind of start learning floor plans and things like that. Okay, so I would recommend doing that. Inventory is really low, so there's probably not as much out there to see, but stuff is starting to sit a little bit more. They're starting to do brokers opens a little bit again too. So go to Brokers Opens, they'll feed you. Sometimes they give away gift cards. It's amazing. Yeah. So try to go to those if you can.
My open house this past week, I put in a 5 mile radius of homes that were for sale. There were 6. Then I put 10 miles, 49. So, yeah, I had, the couple didn't like the house, so I explained it to them. So I'm going to be looking for a house for them, and that they have to sell theirs before they can buy. So
That's awesome. So let's say you're working an open house that is, let's say it's a $300,000 house and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So what I might do is that I would maybe go out in that zip code and try to look at, or at least print off all the houses that are in that price range that are 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. That way, if someone comes to the open house who's like, oh, but I wish they had this, you can maybe think to yourself, you know what, there's a house that is 3 neighborhoods over that I think you might like. That's how you get to know the inventory as a new agent. So I would highly recommend doing that. And again, just set it as agent preview so you're not making everybody mad about it.
This might be a dumb question, but I'm still new. So if you're looking at houses and your customer finds one and it's contingent, can you call and find out what contingencies are?
You can. They're not going to tell you.
They won't. So
it's probably contingent on financing. I mean, that's technically contingent is under contract or pending.
So it's never usually that they have to wait just to move. So
No, all the different websites call it different stuff. Basically, contingent, pending, and under contract are all the same thing. Mm-hmm. If something's in the due diligence period, you might be able to kind of keep an eye on that just to see if it pops out, or maybe send a text to the agent and say, hey, my people are interested. We really don't want to show houses that are under contract if you can. A tricky little thing about South Carolina and their backup offer is that once you submit a backup offer in South Carolina, you're locked in until that house closes. You cannot get out of it. You cannot change your mind. That means your buyers are stuck until that house either closes or goes to them. Okay, keep that in mind. Read your addendums. It states that very clearly. There is no exit. They can't be like, oh, well, it looks like it's going to close next week, so let's go look at this house over here. No, you're locked in. You're locked in until it officially closes. Okay? There is no rescinding of that offer if it's accepted. So keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, coming into the office is important too for the gossip. This is what I tell all the realtors, okay? Who's been coming in the office? You sit at the tables. Yes. Get to know the other agents. Listen to them. They're going to be gossiping about stuff. No, we don't gossip about people. That's wrong. We do not do that. We gossip about houses, right? So what you want to hear about is oh, well, yeah, I went over to this house over here, and then I heard they had structural issues, blah, blah, blah. You hear about stuff like that, or you hear about this house that's coming on the market, and you're like, oh my God, my client will love that house. Keep an eye on it. Try to pump people for information, right? We're working now. You're never going to get anything out of me. I don't, I know what to talk about and not talk about. But some of these agents in here, they just talk. So use that and try to get as much information as you can. But we don't gossip about people, just houses. Okay? All right. Communication. 3 levels of service: purpose, value proposition, fiduciary. You guys have talked about your value proposition. They beat that to death, don't they? I still don't think I've come up with a good value proposition. That might be my self-esteem issues. Fiduciary, do you guys understand the fiduciary versus the functionary? Okay, perfect. We won't go over that then. Or maybe we should. Let's see. A functionary is like an admin, transaction coordinator. They just have specific functions. Fiduciary is that we're helping them with advice to the whole thing. So very important. Dual agency. Okay, so I'm a little bit hesitant to get into dual agency because I am not a BIC. However, I can tell you this, the best way to lose your license is to practice dual agency. It is much better to refer it out. Get that referral fee, save your license, make more money the next day. Okay, it is, I've done a couple of dual agencies before where I got trapped into them. And they are messy because you cannot represent either party fully. And most of the time they get mad. They're not happy with that, right? So I'm going to say you can practice dual agency. I do not recommend it, and I would refer it out to a friend, a realtor friend here in the office or whatever, and do it that way. You can refer out someone for a single property only. Do you guys realize that? Oh, I can hear them next door. That's what it is. So in a referral agreement, you can structure it to where it's like only for like this specific property. So if it falls through on that property, you get that client back. You're just upfront with whoever you're working with, right? So I might say, hey, Amy, I've got these clients, and it's for my listing, and working for them as a buyer. They're interested in this. You take them over just for this property, but if they don't end up getting this property because we're in multiple offers, then I'm taking them back. And you're like, sure, that's fine. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not. You can always say no. Okay. So that's what any questions about that? Okay. Has John talked about dual agency?
He said try not to do it.
That's right. He's a good book. Okay. So I'm not even going to like really go into this because, yeah, let's see. Set expectations. Okay. We kind of talked about expectations. Oh, let's talk about setting market expectations. How would you guys, okay, so here's a problem I'm having with buyers. They have a budget of $200,000. 5 years ago, $200,000 bought you a pretty nice house. Nowadays, it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Rock Hill, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, it's like 700 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And so then I've got buyers who like the top of their budget is like $200,000. They've got all these like student loans, and they're going into these houses, and then they want to get $20,000 off the house. Yeah. Yeah. So how do we set market expectations so these buyers understand what they're getting into and because our goal is to get them. So as a buyer's agent, our goal is to get a buyer into a house as cheap as possible, right? And then as a listing agent, my goal is to sell the house for the most amount of money. So we're wearing 2 different hats. So with the buyers, we also have to set realistic expectations of what's going on in the market. So how would you guys do that? Or how have you done that?
Definitely with data, compare data, trends, and let them know. And I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but it might not be your forever house. And you're investing, and it's going to appreciate.
I always tell every buyer that. I explain to them that the average person buys 5 or 6 houses in their lifetime. So we can't look at this like you're going to buy it, pay it off, and live here forever. You're not. So this is just, are you happy with this house for the next 2 or 3 years? On average, they're moving every 3 or 4 years, which is why you want to keep up with people. I've been in it 9 years. I have sold and buy, sold several times with clients. Yeah. They started out with like this is back when 100,000 bought something. They started out with like $100,000 house. They recently just bought like a $500,000 house. They sold, they bought something for like 250. They sold, they bought something for like 400. They sold, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. You grow, they grew with me. I grew with them. Yeah. Okay. So you would do data. Anybody else have any other? You're so quiet.
Text him, he'll answer.
You remind me of my oldest son. He's 20, and he's actually living in Alaska. He's working out there for a general contractor. It's crazy. He grew up in South Carolina, and right now he's getting jobs shoveling snow off people's roofs because they have like 5 feet of snow. And I'm like, oh my God, kid, like what happened, right? And so I'll text him like a paragraph, and he'll be like, nice.
One word.
Yeah, but he sends me cat videos on Instagram, so I know he loves me. That's our love language, Instagram, Reels. Yeah. Yeah.
I got my first Post-it note from my 21-year-old. No card, nothing, no Mother's Day. Just a little note on the fridge last month. Awesome. I'm going to frame this.
I absolutely would frame that.
He's
Yes.
very quiet too.
Yeah. Yeah. These boys not talking. How old are you? Oh my God. Now I have to mama bear you. Okay. Okay. You can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can do it, because think about it this way. Let's say each of us we're getting married, right? And we're inviting people to the wedding. Are we going to have identical guest lists? No, each of us is going to have a totally different guest list, right? Same with real estate. There's plenty of people to go around, and who your people are, who you vibe with, are going to be attracted to you. And it's who's attracted to me is not going to be who's attracted to you. I'm an Aquarius, so I wear crystals. I know the astrology. You want to know about the moon? I can tell you all about the moon. You want to know about signs? I can tell you all about the signs. You want to know about the zombie apocalypse? I'm your girl, and I have sold land to people who are prepping for zombie apocalypse. Do I judge? No, because I'm making a list. I know where to run. You guys are screwed, okay? I know architects who can build escape tunnels. This is serious, right? But those are my people. Are those going to be your people necessarily? No, maybe. I don't know. And it doesn't matter if they're friends with 10 other realtors on Facebook. That means absolutely nothing. It's about your relationship with that person. Okay. Some of these realtors, they friend everybody. If you guys friend me on Facebook, I will friend you back because you're with Keller Williams, and I try to be super friendly and connect with the people in the brokerage. But if you leave Keller Williams, I'll probably delete you because I try not to be friends with too many realtors unless we're super close. Okay. That's because who do you want to see stuff, right? Other realtors? Why are we on Facebook? You're not on Facebook. What are you on? TikTok? What? No, Facebook's for the old people. You need to be where the young people are. Be on the Snapchat and stuff, right? Isn't that how that works? Oh, you can. Yeah. I know people who do. Guys, honestly, some of my best clients I got off dating apps. Huh?
Did you have to date them?
How exactly?
Yeah, I met them for coffee and we didn't vibe because I am a very difficult person to go out with. I'll just be honest. I'm feral. I'm old. I make my own money. I enjoy my life. You have to add a lot to me. But I have sold a lot of houses to single men I met on the dating apps. It's a wild, wild world out there. Do what you need to do. Yeah. That's not desperate. Huh? They know I'm a realtor. Yeah, but and they'll be like, "Hey, how's the real estate market?" Glad you asked. Yeah. Yeah, go for it. You can meet a guy out for coffee, and if he's not a sleaze bag, but you're not connecting with them, just friend him on Facebook, keep up with them. They're gonna need a house. Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's unlimited resources. We can't just think I don't know, where you go to church or volunteer at the PTO or I don't know, I'm trying to get into running groups and meet people there, and have t-shirts that say the running realtor. You see what I'm saying? You just got to do stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, where were we? Oh God, Sandra's gonna get so mad at me. I'm so set expectations, market expectations. Okay, so here's what I had a older agent show me what to do, and it's what I still do, and it kind of works out the best. So you figure out what because you can print off data, and this is kind of printing off data. You have to understand not everyone understands charts and graphs and data. I am that person. So it just, numbers are not my thing, right? I can calculate commissions in my head. I'm pretty good at that. But other than that, I can't, I can't do these formulas and stuff. So when you start printing off market stats that are complicated things, it goes way over my head. And that's going to be how it is for most of your clients too. Let's just be honest, unless they're an accountant, and they might appreciate that. So what an agent showed me is that, okay, so let's say your client we're looking what they want in their budget. We're looking from 250 to 350, right? And we're looking in, let's say, Rock Hill. They want, so that's 29732, 29730. So what I would do is that, I forgot I was there. I would go run a report of houses that closed, in the past 6 months that meet their kind of requirements, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost like running a CMA. But you want to do a, on the MLS, you could do client thumbnail stuff, and it will show what things close for and what the concessions are, right? Where it'll show 5,000 off or whatever. So then what I do is that I literally print that out and we sit there. I go, this house, this condition, it got $10,000 off the purchase price. This house, this condition, it went for $20,000 over listing price. You know, we go through each and every one and I show them. And I say, based on this data from the past 6 months, it's looking like we can get about $2,500 to $5,000 off either towards the purchase price or closing cost, you know. And that's how you set expectations. Or we say, look how quickly this went on the market. This stayed on the market for a day. And I explain to them, we don't have time to go talk to mama and pray to Jesus to make an offer. We do now. We kind of have some leeway now, but the market is kind of coming back as interest rates are going down. So that time is kind of being cut too. So again, we're surfing the wave. We're kind of staying with things. But by having that printed out and getting out your highlighter and just like highlight here, 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 they get an idea of like what's going on in the market, specifically what they are looking for. And that's how I set expectations, and that's probably the best way. Because giving them just charts and graphs doesn't really hammer home how much people are getting, okay? And I always tell them when it comes to like closing cost and purchase price, you know, do you want more money in your pocket? You want to help with closing cost, or do you want purchase price, which $1,000 purchase price equals to like $5 off your payment or something, or maybe $25. Ask Matt Krasnoff, he'll tell you. Because really, like getting $5,000 off a purchase price doesn't really make a lot of difference in their monthly payment. But $5,000 going towards closing costs, where they get to keep that in their bank account, that will make a difference for them. And that's how I put it to both of them. And when negotiating, I always go, they're like, let's say house is $250, and we want to try to get help with closing costs. And so let's say we need $5,000 for closing costs. You know, my initial offer, if there's not multiple offers on the table, would probably be like $240 with $5,000 in closing costs, because the sellers want to negotiate. They want to feel like they got you. You got to give them room to get you, right? So they're going to come back. They'll probably be like $250 with $5,000 in closing costs. I don't know. Let me talk to my people. Are you sure you can't get them down any lower? Well, let me see. Right? You're going to come back, and it's going to be exactly what your people wanted. So if there's not multiple offers on the table and the market can hold it, you want to, well, Alex will talk about it tomorrow, I'm sure. But it's the psychology of the thing. Okay. So that's how you set market expectations, and that's important for buyers, because if they go in with a $200,000 budget and they are like, I need to get $20,000 off, then we don't need to be looking at $200,000 houses. We need to be looking at $180,000 houses. Okay, because unless it's a trash heap, you're probably not going to get $20,000 off unless it's grossly overpriced, and that's why you run comps, to see if it's grossly overpriced. Okay, but even that takes about 30 days. So I tell people, well, no, because it's a little bit different now, so we're not going to talk about that. Okay, review the transaction process. I do this in the buyer consultation. I actually make a little chart that kind of looks like this. Most of the Etsy stuff has little charts that look like this that you can do. So yes, the first thing you want to do is partner with an agent. Even if they are not ready, you don't have to sign a buyer. You don't really do a buyer agency agreement until they're ready to start looking at houses. Obviously, if they're not going to be ready for 6 months, don't put them under agreement. There's no point, right? But you do want to keep up with them. Maybe they have to repair credit. You get them set up with like Matt Krasnoff or somebody who can help them repair their credit. Maybe they're saving it for down payment, whatever it is. You just keep up with them and communicate with them. Just let them know that you're still there. Check in with them. Hey, how's it going? Need any help, any advice, have any questions, that sort of thing.
I have a question, because I'm actually working with somebody who right now, just because she's pregnant and all this stuff is happening, they want to find a place to rent for like 6 months maybe.
Okay.
But then they want to buy, like they want to buy their house, but they're just trying to sort of transition from where they are now.
Okay.
And then so we're looking for a rental, and they're looking to buy in like June. So you're saying I shouldn't put them under contract, even if I'm helping them like find the rentals and stuff?
What are they? I mean, I'd put them in an apartment, because they'll be more likely to get out of an apartment quicker. And you can break a lease with an apartment really easily.
So I'm just saying, should I have a buyer contract with them while we're like sort of simultaneously.
Are you selling their house?
No, they want to buy a house.
Okay.
And they have to get out of where they are right now, but trying to buy something right now would just be too insane, so we just want to like push off the buy for.
I don't really deal with a lot of renters. I can't remember if there's an agreement you have to be under if you're getting paid to find them a rental. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're not getting paid to find them a rental, no, you absolutely don't need a buyer agency agreement.
Okay.
They're not buying a house.
Yeah.
But I would push them towards, if it's just 6 months, push them towards an apartment. They can sign a year's lease and it's usually only 1 month's rent to break it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Whereas with a house, they're going to have to maintain the yard, they're going to have to mow the lawn and do all that stuff. And they might like nest and stay there longer.
That won't happen. They want this.
Yeah.
So, okay, no, that's good to know. I like that. I'm actually
Yeah. Some apartment complexes, if you refer, they'll give you like a couple $100. You have to run that through KW, and I don't know if there's any paperwork. If that happens, I don't know if that's worth it, to be honest. By the time they take their 36%,
exactly. I know.
It's just
curious how I would sort of do that because we were going to do a purchase, and I'm just like, much easier for everybody, you know.
Yeah. But here's what I would tell them, because here's what's going on with the market. So it's an election year. Did I mention I'm a conspiracy theorist?
Yes.
You mean?
So the powers that be are doing their little puppet master, right? So they're supposed to be reducing rates a bunch of different times this year, probably with the last one happening in like October, right? They're trying to whatever 90-year-old white man they want us to vote for. That's just kidding. I'm going to get in so much trouble. Whatever the powers that be, right? They're going to do what they're going to do. But what we've got to be able to help our people. So we know that this is happening. So as interest rates get lower, more and more people are going to be out looking for that house. So they're going to have a harder time 6 months from now than they would if they do now. Because if you've been going to any of the other classes in here, they talk about you can't shop the price, but you can always shop the interest rate. So like Matt Krasnoff, his bank is giving like a $3,000 coupon for a refinance within 18 months if you buy now.
But yeah, no, I know it's better to talk about it now than competing with people and like pricing.
Yeah. Well, I would look and see if he can get a regular loan and then he can refinance into a VA when that comes through. That might be an option.
That's an option, yeah. We've been talking
to who?
Bubba,
Oh, I don't know who. Like mortgage, if they come and go, I can't keep up with them. Yeah. I have like 3 good mortgage people, and
who do you use?
Well, Matt Krasnoff is my ride or die. I've been using him for 7 years, and he's based out of the office here, but I absolutely adore him.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
And he's very upfront. What I appreciate about him is that he's upfront with like the best rate. So a lot of these people will kind of see what they can get away with, and then you have to be like, oh, well, I'm talking to this person over here, and then all of a sudden they drop it and stuff. Matt doesn't like to play that game as much. So, I mean, I always tell people to like compare, competition is good, and, put mortgage people in competition with each other. But my type A people who like will go through everything, like all the points and interest and fees and stuff, they always end up with Matt. So.
What about movement mortgage? You ever work with them?
Okay.
I love Katie Underwood. So.
Yeah, Bubba's pretty good. Bubba.
He works with her.
He's her sidekick, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I've met him. So.
Bald head.
I mean, they're all bald. I don't know. They all look alike. People start looking alike to me. Then new ages too. Love you guys. I'll recognize you guys, but I can't keep track of who's coming in. Like, are you new? You're not new? Oh, you've been here for a year. Okay, I'm sorry. I might reintroduce myself to you 2 or 3 times. I apologize in advance. Yeah, no, movement's great. I always tell people to, shop the mortgage people, ask all the questions, compare rates, compare fees, hidden fees. What does it cost for this? What does it cost for that? And then you can do apples to apples and see which one you feel comfortable with, that sort of thing. Okay, so yes, get pre-approved for the loan is the next step in the process. Sometimes they can get pre-approved, sometimes they can't. Sometimes they need to pay down some debt so they can get more money to buy a house. That's okay. We want to keep up with them. I have people I've been keeping up with for 2 or 3 years now who are still trying to get their stuff together to buy a house, but I still keep up with them. Okay, I still send them cards, thinking of you notes, shoot a text, however. Okay, he's just looking at me. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, I like to set them up on an MLS search. Do you guys know how to do that? Please tell me you do. So I've had people who stay on searches for years, and it's great on the MLS because you can kind of see when they log on and when they're looking at stuff and that sort of thing, and they can send you notes and all that stuff. Even if they're not ready for 6 months or a year, I say, well, let me set you up on a search, because one thing, it's a communication with them. But I tell them this is how you can kind of learn the market, even when it's like a seller. So I have a friend, and they inherited a townhome from mom who died, and they are renovating their house. So they are currently living in that townhome. When they're done renovating their house, they're going to sell mom's townhome. And I'm like, okay, so I know I'm not going to be listing it for probably another year. And that's okay. I put them on an MLS search for the townhomes in that neighborhood. So she looks at it, so she can kind of see what are they selling for. And so she'll have a pretty good idea what stuff is selling for when it comes time to list it. And there will be no arguments when I give them the price, right? So that's a good way for sellers. But with buyers too, it's to help them learn the market. They can kind of see how quickly things are going under contract, what things are going for, what things are listing for price wise, and they'll have a good idea. So it's okay to go ahead and put them on searches. Also, if they're looking at a search every single day, you know they are invested and they are ready. If they're only checking it once a month, they may not be as invested as you would hope that they would be. Okay, so that's a good way to gauge their temperature. Okay, but you have a ready, active, willing buyer. So you find your new home, you make an offer, negotiate the terms. Does anyone have any questions about the transaction process? Has anyone gone over the transaction process? I don't know if this is the class for this, because we're not supposed to be doing that. So we find a house, and if they want to buy it, then we make an offer, and then we negotiate the offer back and forth, and hopefully we get under contract. And at that point, we go into inspections, and we get all the inspections done, get through due diligence, negotiate any repairs. The appraisal happens during that time. Make sure all the paperwork is kind of caught up for closing, coordinate between the bank and the closing attorney. And then you have closing and then post-closing. So that's kind of a brief overview. Yes?
Question, so on this older home, in the statement, it says it's got new electrical, new plumbing, but that doesn't really quantify all new electrical, all new plumbing. So it's kind of affecting the offer. Is that something I talked
Where's it at?
about? It's in Fort Mill.
Do they pull permits?
I'm sorry?
Do they pull permits?
No, so that's what we need to do before we make an offer, is pull permits.
Oh, you can't pull permits.
I have them pull permits. What do I do?
First, I would call up the listing agent and I would say, what exactly was done? Was it just the panel replaced? Is it all new wiring in the walls? Like, is it just the outlet receptacles? Like, what was the scope of this? Were there permits pulled? A lot of times you can go online under like, I haven't looked at Fort Mill lately, but I know with York County and City of Rock Hill, you can look up permits.
That's what you're saying, yes. So did they get permits on their work? Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You can look the tax record up on that property
Right. And it'll
and
say
actually see.
permits or?
Tax record won't show permits, but the planning department. I would look up the City of Fort Mill Planning Department or York County, and see and look up and see if there were any permits pulled. City of Rock Hill has a permit portal also that you can look up, but it's very backwards to find it. You just kind of have to. You accidentally hit on it.
Right. So, but I can call the agent. And
Yeah.
try to get questions.
Yeah, like, hey, were permits pulled? Hopefully they did their job and found out. Yeah.
Well, I know when I was doing like record search on this one property and I was going through all of the records, I noticed that on another, I was just snooping and looking on the address beside it. It showed permits for water heater, I mean, all kinds of stuff that they had done.
Oh, I wonder if
over
they've
the last
connected that. It
year.
didn't used to be connected
That
like
was
that.
Gaston County.
Oh, okay, that's Gaston. Yeah, your county, no, they're not.
But
You
I
have to
was
go separate.
surprised that it was showing all this stuff.
Yeah, because you're supposed to
I'm
pull
like,
permits
it
for
was
water
just all that
heaters.
stuff out and
Yeah.
nothing about it.
Yeah, you're supposed to pull permits on stuff. But if people can get away with not pulling permits, they will, and that's the problem you're having with like renovations and stuff.
Another thing I learned, because this is an Airbnb, they're stating 70% of the time occupancy Airbnb, and that's not correct, because for Fort Mill, it is 51, almost 52% occupancy is allowed. So the rest of the time, you cannot have Airbnb people in your property. So that was interesting.
They're always changing those rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to see
I
what's.
know South Carolina, if you're a homeowner, you can pull your own permit, you can do your own electrical repair, but you have to live there longer than 2 years afterwards.
Well, but the city and county supersede that. So the county will let you, York County will let you pull your own permits and GC your own contractor work. City of Rock Hill will not. And like City of Rock Hill, if you want to do the electrical in your own home, you can, but you have to take an electrician test beforehand. So it's kind of different with every municipality. Just know that when you're showing houses and they have all these things, you definitely want to figure out if it's in the county or if it's in a city. City of Rock Hill is extremely difficult to work with. Contractors are kind of refusing to work there right now. So keep that in mind because their planning department has gotten so difficult. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know who's in there. I don't know what's going on that they're doing this, but they are. Well, there's home inspections too. So, you just you need to talk to the listing agent, figure out what's going on. Okay, set time. Okay, so set time expectations. Okay, so let's when it's a hot market, it's not unusual to like someone show you a house, and if you can get in 2 hours later, go for it, right? And sometimes people have to understand that, hey, on Tuesday nights I'm coaching kids soccer, I'm not going to be available, but we can do it beforehand or things like that. Most buyers will work with you and be reasonable. You just kind of have to explain what's going on. They have lives too. As far as time expectations, the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is when I do phone calls. Some agents won't take phone calls after 5 o'clock. I don't understand that. Some agents won't take phone calls on Sundays. I don't understand that either. I take phone calls on weekends. I guess you have to decide how you want to run your business. However, most people have a hard time talking from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. because they are at work and they only have time to talk afterwards. And most people don't want to talk after 8 p.m. Unless you're negotiating an offer. So I would recommend being available on weekends, or maybe real estate's not the job for you because that's when people are off work. Any questions? Okay. Set document expectations. So I figured they had gone over this in the buyer consultation, but at the buyer consultation, you definitely want to go over the agency agreement, a sample contract. You kind of want to go over the key points of a sample contract, and you kind of want to discuss some things beforehand with them. Where did what did I do with it? Well, I've lost it. My notes. Did I drop it? Are there papers on the floor? It just disappeared on me. Okay. Did I stick it in here? Oh, there it is. Okay. So there are things that you kind of need to know beforehand before you really start showing houses, is because when you go to write an offer, that's going to happen very quickly. Like you show a house, an hour later, you're writing an offer. So beforehand, you kind of want to know, like, on closing dates, what is a good day for them to close? If they can't ever miss work on a Tuesday, they can never get off on a Tuesday. We talk about this during the buyer consultation. We know not to schedule a closing on a Tuesday, right? So kind of ask them, hey, if we did a closing, what days are usually good for a closing? And what is a good time frame before lunch, after lunch, that sort of thing. You want to make sure that they've got earnest money, that they understand earnest money is something that is going to be handed over to the closing attorney, usually within 2 to 3 days of going under contract. And that is money that physically comes out of their banking account and sits in the attorney's trust fund. This is not a check that gets stapled to a document and sits in a drawer until closing. This money comes out of their bank account. It's gone from their bank account. Make sure they understand that, okay? That's earnest money. Do they have a closing attorney that they like? Most people are going to say no. They're going to go off your recommendations. Every agent has their favorite closing attorneys, and I have my favorite closing attorneys. But what I would do is that, maybe take a poll around here, see the top 5 people talk about, and then just call the office and say, hey, can I get your pricing sheet? You would be surprised at the different prices some of these attorneys charge. There's a certain closing attorney here who's also a state representative, and his fees are like double what everybody else's is because he's got a campaign to pay for, right? I don't know about you, but some of my clients can't afford the extra $800 for a closing attorney when you could get one just as good who's cheaper. So you want to make sure that who you recommend is also worth it price-wise. Just ask for their pricing sheet. Yeah. Donovan Stelzner Law is one of my favorites. He's down in Rock Hill. I love his paralegals. Again, it's just who you kind of work with. Up here in Fort Mill, Peterson Law is really great. They're affordable. Yeah, those are 2 of my favorites. I'm trying to think. They come and go, and you'll kind of see them from both sides. Yeah, just ask the different. Agents are very passionate about the closing attorneys they like, and they will trash the ones they don't like. You just kind of have to be in balance and figure out like what happened. I mean, sometimes things just go. For me, like, no closing attorney is perfect. What you want is someone who, when an issue comes up, they're not going to like ghost you. They're going to like figure it out and communicate with you, because issues are going to happen. That's why we have closing attorneys. So you need to make sure that it's someone who will get the work done. Okay. You're going to want to know like who their lender is. In the contract, you have to put down like what their down payment amount is. So you need to like how much are you planning to put down? That sort of thing. So this is some information you need to know beforehand. And then you need to explain to them that, everything's going to be electronic through DocuSign. And if they can't handle the electronic, because sometimes you're going to get older people who just can't handle it, then you're going to have to handwrite a contract and meet with people to sign. Okay. And that's something you need to figure out beforehand. Okay. Let's see. We talked about communication contingencies. Okay, if you go out of town and you're working with buyers, have someone who can be your emergency backup to show houses. So you can either pay, maybe some of you guys have offered your services to be paid by agents, or you can owe each other favors. I've got agents who we owe each other favors. Hey, I'm going out of town. Can you cover for me? And then I'll cover for you the next time. So get your crew together and help each other out. Yeah, that'd be the best way to do that. Again, you meet your crew by coming in the office regularly. So just try to come in and sit down and get to know people, okay? Set up-to-date market expectations. We talked about that. Set expectations. So I'm gonna be honest, I really don't understand the KW Tech. KT Temple is amazing, and you can schedule online with him, and he'll do it in 15-minute increments, and he will tell you exactly how to do everything. So also they have YouTube. Scott Leroy has like a YouTube channel, so you can go on YouTube and watch videos. So I would recommend doing that because I don't know how to do any of this. I need to, obviously, I need to. Okay, referrals. Always the goal with helping buyers and sellers is to try to get referrals from them. In the end, you want them to use you again, and you want them to refer you out to their friends. So that happens by excellent communication and getting the deal done. So, and asking for that. Okay, 5 stars. A lot of times what I do at the buyer consultation, and this was an old KW thing, I don't even know if they still have it, because I don't have access to your materials, so I don't know what it looks like. But they had this like list of like 10 questions. What can I do to make sure you have a 5-star experience, you know? And that's a lot of times when I'm asking like, how often do you want me to communicate? You know, do you want me to do this, do that? Like, what can I do to make sure, like, what makes a perfect experience for you? And when you set those, when you find out up front and set those expectations up front, it's easy to kind of mold your process to what they want or what they need. Because everybody's different. Okay, seller reviews, yeah. Ahas. Anybody have any ahas? This client. Oh God, we're still doing buyers. Okay. Any ahas, questions? It's like hot in here. What time is it? 11. Okay. Any questions? Ahas? This is the Oprah moment. Oh, my aha moment. Anything?
I have a lot of them, but one is to run a list of houses that closed.
Yeah.
Set expectations.
Those are great ahas. I hate it when they ask for ahas, so I'm just like, just get on with it. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Okay. Do you guys want to break, or do you want to get into the buyers? It's up to you. You want to get into it? Okay. All right, buyers. What is it buyers want most for their agent? They want help with paperwork. Yes. Determine what comparable homes we're selling for. Help determine how much buyers can afford. Well, that's what the mortgage people do. And then other, find the house. So what I'm finding a lot of times is that they are on Zillow and Realtor. They are on there all day long. So a lot of times they feel like they're finding the home, and that can kind of be a complaint. So try to be proactive. And every morning I have like a list of who my buyers are and what they're looking for. And I check the hot sheets throughout the day, just kind of like, because you can set the hot sheets to be like what's come up for just for today, or in the last 24 hours, or the last 3 days, or the last 7 days. You guys know that, right?
Is that in showing time?
That's in the MLS for the hot sheets. So you go on your home page and there's hot sheets. Well, there's a little drop down arrow, and you can actually put a time setting on it. You can also set up a custom thing in the hot sheets to where, like I have a hot sheet that comes up that is just York County, Lancaster County, Chester County. Those are my 3 main counties that I work. And so it eliminates the new stuff that's coming in from Mecklenburg and stuff. So I can keep up with those 3 counties.
So it's so on here, is it in the direct, where would I find hot sheets on?
You go under Matrix, and then there should be like hot sheets, like what's new on the market, what's new under contract, all that stuff. There's a drop down arrow, and you can sort it by what's just come on today, what's come on in the last 24 hours, 3 days, and 7 days. So if I've got like someone who's looking for like they're hot to trot, they are like active, we're out every day looking, then I set the hot sheet for today when I'm looking for, I can tell pretty instantly what's coming new on the market. If anything new come on. You just kind of check it throughout the day. But again, they're on Zillow and stuff and they're getting notifications. Also, when you send automated emails to them, you can set it up to where they get the automated email either at 6 a.m. every morning or every time a new property comes on the market. So if they are not wanting to buy something for 6 months, giving them an email every time a new property comes on the market is going to absolutely annoy them. If it doesn't annoy them, it's because it's in their spam folder, and that's not good either. So you might want to set it up to where it's at 6 a.m. in the morning. If it's something that you're out looking at houses every day, we are actively looking and searching for houses, then maybe you want to switch that automated email to the when something comes on the market, instant notification email. You can do that. You can go in and you can adjust parameters. I always tell my buyers too, hey, if we need to adjust parameters on the email so you're seeing more in this area or not anything in this other area, let me know, because we can go in and retroactively adjust the parameters on those emails. Have you guys learned how to do that? If not, I would watch that video on how to do that. So it's the saved auto emails. We know how to do that. Did MLS not teach you?
Sometimes there's so much we went through and it takes light of.
I remember that. I felt like I was having like a stroke by the time. Yeah, it really is. So maybe they have like help videos. So maybe go through their help videos and learn how to do the saved auto email, because that's how you do the auto emails to people. You can go in on the auto emails and go into them and disable them. You can adjust parameters and all that good stuff. So keep that in mind. Okay, you guys have kind of talked about the wants versus needs, right, with previous people. Buyers' lives change, buyers' world change. Tough conversations. Okay, you really do have to have tough conversations with buyers. I have a lot of come to Jesus moments with a lot of buyers. And a lot of that has to do with setting market expectations where, again, they're wanting $20,000 off in a market where things are going in multiple offers. I've actually had to fire clients. And you have to be willing to fire a client if they are just unreasonable, because you can't do anything to make them happy.
What about like if they start showing signs of being very litigious? Like if, just in general, like would you kind of back off from somebody like that who wants to show you all the stories of like suing everybody?
Yeah, so psychology tip, when they talk about how every contractor they have ever used has screwed them over, when they've had to sue this person or sue that person, I would run in the other direction. It is not worth the money. Yeah, it is. It's going to cost you more in the long run. So you got to make sure that you vibe correctly with people. Yeah. That's a warning flag in life. Yeah. I'd say across the board in life. Like,
no, but it's like she loves me, but then she wants to talk about everything. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, they're not.
Tomorrow, you know what I mean? You love me today.
It will, exactly, because that's happened to me. Like I've had people. I learned the hard way. I haven't gotten sued. Knock on wood. Where is some wood? I really need something. But it was. And then the people who are constantly like, "Oh, you're so amazing. You're a god." Like they're love bombing you, right? Love bombing you, but like from a client perspective, those are the ones that are always like, by the end of the transaction, they like absolutely hate you, because it's just not very balanced. So you kind of have to like when they're like, "Oh, God sent you. You're so amazing. You're the best ever." Blah blah blah. You want to hear that at the end of the transaction. When like they've only talked to you for 5 minutes and they're talking about stuff like that, then that is a huge red flag, and I would just get rid of them. Yeah. So Kip is hanging on.
I have another question. I'm really challenged by this house because they want to come down a lot. They want to come down $50,000 on this house, which seems very high to me. And one of the challenges is that it's, one room has been converted to a bedroom, but no closet. So they don't want to call that a bedroom. So, well, it is legally a bedroom. You have to decide about the closet. But when I'm running comps, I'm running it against 3 bedrooms.
It doesn't have a closet?
It does not have a closet.
Then it's not a bedroom.
Okay.
You have to have egress and a closet for it to be considered a bedroom.
Because I read about the egress
It's not a bedroom.
Okay.
No, it is a bonus room. It is a flex space. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if it's priced high, go submit the offer for under 50 and see what they come back with. And if it's been sitting on the market, if it's been on the market for a day, no. Has it been on the market for a while? Yeah, this is the time. Go for it. See what happens. Yeah, definitely. If it's been a couple months. Okay. So show homes based on needs analysis. Let's talk about showing a home. Have you guys been practicing on a lockbox and how to get it open?
Yes.
We know how to do that.
They have one in the office. I have.
Oh, thank God. I meant to bring one with me for you guys to practice on, but then I totally forgot. So yeah, they can be a little bit tricky. So here's a little tip that I have found out. If you have the Bluetooth on your car, like, right? Like, so my car is old. Like, I am so cheap, guys. I need to buy a new car, but my car still runs. And I'm like, it's ugly. I don't care. I'm cheap. Anyway. And I haul kayaks around on top of it. So the poor paint is like coming off. But anyways, so I have like a plug-in music thing so I can play from my phone, right? So a lot of times that interferes with trying to pair with the Bluetooth in the lockbox. So keep that in mind. It may pop up on your phone if it's not coming through. Like make sure everything is disconnected if you have something going on still in your car.
Also, if you haven't done your first lockbox, when I practiced my Bluetooth, Canopy didn't have it linked, so I had to call Canopy for some reason. Yeah, so make sure I had to call Canopy. I was panicked. It took me a day before. That's why.
I would be so mad. I pay Canopy a lot of money.
It's buried in there too. I had to search. You were trying to get me to figure it out. I was absolutely losing my mind in my house trying to figure out what. So that's what.
That's what I was trying to do, but I need my pin.
It's in one of the emails.
I just would call them. They're so
I'm gonna find it for you.
Trying to find that in my emails.
I know. I had to do a hard search. No, I'll find you the headline who it's from. So I just have to do it. It might take me a second.
Yeah, I was there. I was lucky the homeowners left the door unlocked because they said if the lockbox was sticky, so they left it open for me. But when I went to go get the keys to lock up at the end of the day, I couldn't open the box.
Oh, Canopy is so wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about showing houses. Okay, so let's talk about kind of maybe a couple different clients you might have. You've got the clients who are like, let's go see this one house and it's one and done. You've got the clients who are like, let's go see 5 or 6 houses. So you kind of have like a showing tour set up, right? Then you've got out of town clients who are coming where you're devoting like days to them. So the question is, do you want to put them in your car or do you want them to follow you? That's something you have to think about. Now, when it's an out-of-town client, if they're flying in on a plane, you may have to pick them up at the hotel and cart them around for the day. Buy them lunch, keep helping them look at houses. But most of the time for me personally, I have people just meet me out at the house. So I find it easier in showing time to when you're scheduling multiple houses, right? When you're trying to do the time, it's easier to go on the laptop to schedule it that way versus trying to get into the app on the phone. The app on the phone is not very friendly when it comes to scheduling multiple houses for like a block of time. Also, what I like about the laptop when you schedule showing time through your laptop is they've got the smart route. Have you guys looked at that? Yeah, where you basically can request all the houses and then you can hit the smart route button and it will kind of line them up and you can fiddle and mess and see like which house is the best house to start at route wise. What is the smoothest route so you're not doubling back on each other. So that's a good way to do that too. The app is, what you need, Kit? Okay. The app is nice too when you have to do like just a single showing. So like literally if I had someone text me now like, hey, can we get into this house? I can go into the app and schedule it real quick, you know, and do that. Those are some tips on showing time. Another nice thing with showing time, especially when you have like a bunch of houses that you're showing at one time, is you can actually print off like a schedule for the clients that show like, okay, we get in this house from here to here, here to here. Now, the question is paper versus paperless, right? So the young kids don't like paper. I love paper. My car is filled with old MLS showing sheets. So have you guys gotten into MLS Touch yet? That app. I do like that app because you can access property disclosures on that app. So keep that in mind. I do not print off property disclosures. I don't have enough ink for that. But I will look them up on the MLS Touch app. So it's up to you whether you want to print off client full sheets when you're going out to show houses. I like to print off the agent full sheet for me because it's got all the info on there. I'm used to how it looks and I can see, you know, what are the HOA dues, what's the square footage, agent remarks, all that stuff. So I schedule in showing time, you know, I check with the client, hey, what's a good time to go look? I'm like, okay. And then I text them back and I usually say to them, I've requested the showing. I will confirm with you once they confirm we can get in. So they understand that I am working on it. This may take a little while to receive, you know, if the seller has to approve the showing, it could take a little bit to do that. So they understand that I'm working on it. Once it's confirmed with the seller, I then at that point text them saying, hey, we're good to go. I'll meet you at so-and-so address at this time. Okay, that's how I do that. Any questions so far? Okay, prepping for a showing, what I like to do is I like to pull up the disclosures on my laptop before I leave for the showing and just kind of look to see if there's any red flags. If it's no, 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 it's no. Again, you can pull up the disclosures in MLS Touch, but I like to know ahead of time. I also make sure to read through the agent remarks. So many beautiful things can happen in agent remarks. Agent remarks are not public remarks. Only us agents can see them. And a lot of stuff gets disclosed in the agent remarks. So that is way more important than the public remarks, okay? That's where you find out stuff. So definitely look at that. Also, you want to look at the other associated documents that are uploaded. If you know your people have a pit bull, maybe a townhome is not the best place for them. Or you need to find out if that townhome complex will allow a pit bull. Like you've done a needs analysis on your people, but you need to make sure before you show them a house that it meets their basic needs, right? If you know that they really, really, okay, there are neighborhoods that don't allow you to park on the street. And they've got 3 teenagers all with cars. Is that neighborhood something that maybe they need to look at? Well, you give them the option. You say, now listen, you know, you've got 5 vehicles in your family. This is a short driveway, and this HOA is very particular about towing people who park on the street. Do you still want to look at this house? You leave it up to them. Maybe they're like, oh, well, yes, I still want to look, or no, I don't even want to look. So you have to be aware of things like that. I'm thinking of 2 neighborhoods in Rock Hill that will tow your butt if you park on the street. So it's not good when you have multiple vehicles like that. And that's, you know, something that you kind of learn. That's something I do when I'm showing a house. I try to get there a little bit early and drive through the neighborhood. And that's one of the things I actually look at. How many cars are parked on the street? There is not a single car parked on the street, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening. You know without a doubt that HOA is picky, unless they have really, really, really long driveways and they're out in the country, right? But for the most part, if it's one of these tract home neighborhoods and there's not a single car on the street, or there's like 1 car on the street out of the whole neighborhood, then I guarantee you that is a very picky HOA. And you need to keep that in mind. Again, if your people have teenagers who have cars, you need to find out from the listing agent how picky that is, because that can kill a deal, okay? And they'll get mad at you for not knowing that, because that's a part of our job, is knowing details like that. If you go into a neighborhood and it's like you can barely get through the neighborhood because of all the cars on the street, obviously you don't have that problem. And you're going to find that there's both, and you're going to start noticing the differences between them. Again, I research, any issues that like my people might have versus what is going on with that neighborhood. Okay, so what to wear, right? Because what do we wear? What do you guys wear? Wear your Adidas track pants? I mean, I'll show up. Kip knows. I'll show up to the office in my Adidas track pants.
And it's
Poor Carter. Carter's like, are we going skiing today? No. When it's 20 degrees, I'm not getting in anything but sweatpants. So my rule of thumb is that I always try to dress a little bit nicer than the buyer. Now, this is me personally, okay? A little bit nicer than the buyer. I'm not wearing sweatpants. I'm not wearing leggings or anything like that. I'm looking nice. But depending on the buyer, and you kind of get a gauge for how the buyer shows at the buyer consultation. They're going to show up in shorts and t-shirts, and that's totally fine. So you want to dress a little bit nicer than that. Maybe that's someone you are in a nice sweater and jeans for. But a lot of times you have to think about the comfortability of the buyer. If I show up in like a suit, a beautiful suit, they may not feel as comfortable working with me. So you just kind of have to decide. But then there are agents out there who they would never show up in anything less than a super nice designer suit. So it's just, you kind of have to figure out who you are as an agent, how you want to present yourself, but you always want to look nicer, be dressed nicer than the buyer. You don't want the buyer to ever feel like they're dressed nicer than you. Okay? Any questions about that? Any thoughts? Also, keep in mind, what are you showing? If you're showing land out in the country, maybe wear some boots. I actually went to Academy. They've got these rain boots, and I keep those in my trunk at all times. They are my car trunk boots. We went out to my car right now, looked at my trunk, they are in there. And when it's muddy, construction sites, whatever, I've got my boots that I can rinse off, and I put them on, and they're gray with flowers on them. I love them.
Do you carry the booties around too, just in case?
I do have booties in my trunk. I also have like a roll of toilet paper. That's important. I keep a camping chair in my trunk because I don't know how many open houses I've showed up to with it's vacant. There's no place to sit.
And then they have no toilet paper.
And they've got no toilet paper. I like to keep wet wipes, but the problem is the wet wipes dry out after a few months. So you kind of have to keep up with that. Definitely a flashlight. So they've got these really cool taser flashlights where you push the button this way, it's a flashlight. You push the button this way, it's a taser. So if you feel unsafe, you can do that. I'm bigger than most men, so I never feel unsafe with clients for the most part. Like, I'm just a big girl, so no one's taking me down. But you petite little things, I don't know how you're doing it with all the strangers. Yeah. Oh, you want to hear something funny? So you never want people to walk behind you, right? Because that's how they bop you on the head and try to murder you. And so I've been doing this so long that at this point, I never let people, like friends, kids, anything, they always have to walk in front of me. Well, when a man is like trying to like I'm on a date, right? Man's like trying to walk behind me. I'm like, after you. I don't even think about it because I'm not going to get murdered. You can't stab me in the back. So you don't want to go downstairs or upstairs. You don't want to lead the way. You want to be like, and here are the stairs. Go on up. I'll follow behind you. Right? So safety. Never expose your back. See, got the wall to my back. We're good. Any questions? Some people carry guns. I don't know how you're going to get a gun out in time to shoot somebody. I mean, yes, some people do. Now, when it comes to showing like large acres of land, unless I know the person really well, I do not go out there by myself. I will refer that to a male agent, or I will bring someone with me. That's a great way to get murdered. Remember, we're trying to not get murdered. They have that red file system where you can call that phone number and be like, I need you to pick up the red file. There's also like alerts on showing time where you can hit like an alert, like a beacon alert. Also, I'm in a group of ladies and we have Life 360 and we set up a circle. And a lot of times we'll be like, hey, I'm meeting some people I don't know. Just keep track of me on Life 360. And one of us will just kind of be like, you know, keep track that way. So maybe make some friends and do a Life 360 circle. I'm trying to think.
Your location's on your phone, you call 911, and you don't answer, there'll be police there.
Unless you're out in Chester.
You get the emergency thing too.
If you don't answer, they're coming.
Yeah. I hope they will. I don't know.
Well, they do.
I've not tried it.
For Pineville
They'll do that?
Services.
Okay. You could do 911, yeah.
100%. You don't answer, they're calling somebody out.
You know, and if you feel like, and this is why I like meeting people at open houses and in public places first. Like I never tried to meet someone for the first time at a house because you want to like get a feel for them. Like if they are making your gut, like you want to throw up or you just don't feel right, refer it out to someone or just hand them over to someone else, you know.
Well, they have a service on MLS where you can kind of.
Oh, the forewarn?
Yeah.
Yes, and we also get that with South Carolina Realtors, so that's great. Oh my gosh, like I've been helping out some of this.
That somebody might be a little weird. You can kind of see if they got some assault charges or something.
Yeah, so I actually have some realtor friends who have declined meeting people because they looked up stuff on Forewarn and they had like not good things on there. So it's free, sign up for it, do it. And if you're out there dating, do it on your dates too. I have.
I know, they were like, you can't even look yourself up, you'll be banned or whatever, and I just got done looking at myself.
I already looked up myself. What? When did they say that?
Like, the day I got it, they sent me like all these angry emails. Not to me personally, but just like, don't do this, don't like look it up unless they've contacted you first and check your, it wasn't like directed to me personally, but I'm sure you guys all got the same thing, right? Where it was like, you can only look up like if they've contacted you, you can't like proactively just start looking at people and
that's kind of
contact, always review it.
If you're showing somebody
They're just saying they'll pull it away, but I didn't even think it was all that anyway.
Yeah, they had like
addresses that I've never lived at. I've never even heard of for me. That was kind of weird, but yeah, just saying.
That's good to know. I missed that email. Well, maybe don't do it if you're trying to date. I don't know. I mean, at this point, trying to get a man's phone number from them because they all want to be on like Messenger or whatever, you know, hide the phone number. But I don't know. If you have their phone number, it's fair game. No, I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me. Check with your BIC. Oh yeah, safety first. Okay, so we understand that we want everyone to walk in front of us. And then at the team meetings, we're all going to fight over who's going to be walking. Just kidding. Okay, so now so we've scheduled your meeting your buyer at the house. We get to the house. They're not there yet. So do you go into the house ahead of time? Number one, you never go in if it's too early, right? If the appointment's at 11, you're not going in at 10:55. You also kind of want to see, has the seller even left yet, right? Honestly, at this point, I'm not really going in houses unless the buyer is with me because it's just too many people hiding in houses and stuff, and I don't want to be by myself in a house, even a vacant house. I just kind of, but then there are some people who get there early so they can turn on lights and do this whole thing. You know, I guess it just kind of depends on the house that you're showing. If it's $1 million house, then yeah, get there and turn on the lights. If it's like $100,000 house, I don't know. I've showed houses that had empty vials of crack on the bed, you know, like I'm not going in that house by myself. I was with an investor, you know, and he carried a gun. So we were okay. You know, it is what it is. So I usually go up to the door, you know, and you do the lockbox. And then as I'm opening, like I knock on the door first.
Who's there?
Hello.
I know, right? That has happened before. You want to give someone time to get to the door if they are still there. If no one comes to the door, as I'm opening up the door, I'm like, hello, realtor, realtor here. Hello. I am shouting through the house, and this is just standard procedure. I have actually had people who are just like, what, waking up from a nap and coming out. They didn't realize that there was a showing because it was approved or whatever. So you kind of want to make sure that you're the only people there. You also want to be respectful if the listing agent says to take off your shoes. Oh, good point. Never wear socks with holes in them. Seriously. If you have socks at home that have holes in them, just throw them away because you're going to accidentally wear them to a showing and you're going to have to take off your shoes. This has happened to me, I don't know how many times until I learned that lesson, okay? No socks with holes in them. And if you're women and you've got the pretty sandals on and stuff, make sure your toes look pretty, okay? If you're not going to be wearing socks, make sure your toes look halfway decent. Mine never do because I'm running trails and I'm losing toenails and stuff, but that's why I wear socks, right? Okay, the listing agent doesn't want you to wear shoes or they have booties provided, then do that. If it's a muddy, rainy day, even if the listing agent says no shoes, make everyone take their shoes off. Your buyers are not going to have a problem with that. Okay, just be respectful of the floors of the sellers and stuff. So you go in and then, at that point you let them, you also want to warn the buyers that Ring, doorbells, the cameras, Alexa, like sellers are listening. They're not supposed to be listening, but they are absolutely listening. If they have kids, the sellers are probably glued to a camera watching you not manage your kids, and that's something. Have any of you guys experienced showing a house where there's a bunch of kids, like where your buyers have kids with them? Okay, so if you know that you're something to consider is I used to bring my teenagers with me when they were home. And like my daughter, she would do this for Taco Bell. She did everything for Taco Bell. She was really easy to pay. And I would bring her with me and she would take the kids into the backyard and play with them and keep an eye on them so the parents could look at the house without having the kids. I've heard of agents who will hire neighborhood teenagers or whatever to come along with them on showings. If they know it's going to be like a long day of showings, they'll pay the kid $20-$30. You just ride along with the agent and then they help with the kids at the different houses. So that is one way to kind of handle that. Otherwise, you're going to have to help the parents too with their kids because you want to make sure the kids don't destroy the house. Not every parent, yes.
What's the etiquette on lights? If the lights are on when you get in, do you leave them on?
I do. That's what I do. I try to take note of what lights are on and what lights are off. Yeah. And same with what is locked, because some sellers want the door between the garage and the house locked and others don't because then they get locked out of the house. Yeah, so you have to pay attention if there's a sign, if there's a note in the agent remarks, however, try to keep note of that. Also, leaving doors open, pets, there could be a cat wandering around. You just kind of have to think of things like that. As a listing agent, if there's cats in the house, I will actually print out a sign, and I have a lamination machine because I'm a nerd. I'm like the hugest nerd in the world, and I laminate it and I put it on the wall by the back doors and stuff, and I'll say, don't let the cats out, that sort of thing. That way agents hopefully will read that and not let the cat out. Or if I'll put it on the door to the garage, do not lock door. Notes and signs are good. You can't assume that agents are going to read your agent remarks. Most of them don't. But you guys are different because you're Keller Williams connected and you go the extra mile. That's right. Okay. So at the showing, when you're showing the house, your job is the way I look at it is that I'm like walking the floors, making sure the floors feel level. I'm constantly looking at the ceilings and the walls, looking for cracks. I can't believe the amount of cracks there are.
Looking for crack.
Yep, that's exactly right. Looking for the cracks, looking for water leaks, looking for the stuff that they're overwhelmed, and I'm honing in on the fine details. And they're a little bit overwhelmed just looking at the overall thing. So they're looking at the house, and you want them to talk. You want to hear what they're saying, what they get excited about, what they don't like. And you want to take notes because what you're doing is that you're taking in that data, the information of what they like and what they don't like. That's just going to help you as you show houses later on. Before we leave the house, I always ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, what is this house to you? Like, okay, it's a 6. Why is it a 6? And you have them explain that. And I take notes on the MLS sheet and I put that down. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, we have this house. You gave it a 6, but you gave this house a 9. Do you want to make an offer? You know, you have to ask for the sale. You always have to say, do you want to make an offer? Right. Our job is not to sell the house per se, because we are not paying their mortgage payment. I am not living with my buyer. I'm not trying to convince them to buy anything. But my job is to point out the pros and the cons, the things that they may have missed, and let them ultimately make that decision. If they feel pressured into buying something, because they're going to ask you, well, what do you think? You know, my response is, am I living with you? Am I paying your mortgage? No. Does it matter what I think? What do you think? You know? So, yes, and I am that blunt with my clients, and they understand that. You attract the people. So if that's going to hurt their feelings, I'm probably not the agent for them, because I am pretty blunt. But everyone's like, oh, that's just Jana. But again, you attract the people who appreciate that. Okay. Also, they're going to ask you questions you don't know the answer to. Like, if you're out in the country and there's a septic tank, you know, they're going to be like, where's the septic tank? Especially if you know they want to eventually put a pool in the backyard. It's important to know where the septic tank is. Is it in the backyard? Is it in the front yard? Is it in the side yard? And I guarantee you the listing agent's not going to have a septic permit, because York County doesn't keep septic permits older than 5 years. I mean, none of these people do. So what is our standard answer when they ask us something we don't know?
I can find it out.
I can find out. That's exactly right. Then you call up the listing agent and see. You can't figure it out. And again, with like surveys and property lines, they're always gonna be like, well, where do you think the yard ends? Like, well, based on where it's mowed, maybe there, but I don't have a survey in hand, so I can see if I can find a survey, or we can look it up, because I really have no clue. You know, let me see what I can find out. That needs to be the standard. If you don't know the answer to the question definitively, it's something that you can find out. Also, you need to take notes so you don't forget to find out, because they will remind you, and that's a little bit embarrassing, right? When they're like, well, did you find out this? Did you find out that? Oh no, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm a great agent. No, write it down, what you're supposed to find out, and then do it. Actually find out the stuff you need to find out. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. You, especially with like houses that have been renovated, I would definitely call up the listing agent. For a while there, it was really difficult to get a hold of listing agents. A lot of them just weren't answering the phone because the market was so hot that they couldn't keep up with all the phone calls and stuff. The market's calmed down a little bit, so they're answering their phones again. But my recommendation is that when you have questions for the listing agent, you call up and you just let them talk. See what they're willing to talk about. A lot of them have no sense and will tell you everything you need to know plus more information. And so, you know, and you want to be like really nice, like, oh, my clients like the house. We just have some questions, not sure if it's right for them. You know, where's the septic tank? You know, is the leak in the ceiling recent, whatever. And some of them will barely tell you anything, and you're trying to get information out of them, and others will just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Next thing you know, you're learning all about the seller's divorce, about how they have to sell the house before they lose it in foreclosure, and blah, 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 blah. And you've got all this information that they should have never revealed in the first place. So if you can, be that good, like, FBI agent and figure out that stuff. But you just want to give them a chance to talk. Also, you want to find out from them, especially before you submit an offer, you want to try to talk to the agent, listing agent, and find out what's important to the seller. Is it something that they need to close fast? Is it something that they're trying to make the most amount of money on? And they will tell you that. If you call me up and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about submitting an offer for your listing, what can you tell me? I will tell them, you know, like, well, you know, we're just, you know, the most money, you know, I'll tell them that. Or I'll be like, well, we're under a time crunch and they're getting relocated and we need to, you know, be out by so-and-so. You know, that's okay, because I've already gotten that approved by the sellers to talk about it, so that's okay. And that's, and so that's why it's important to kind of talk to the listing agent and kind of develop a relationship with them. Any questions? Showing home best practices. Okay, we talked about that. Everybody does GPS. I will tell you, Google Maps will send you the ugliest way every time. So just keep that in mind. I hate it sometimes. Yeah, okay, we talked about that. Okay. Agent interaction, yeah. Oh, home tour toolkit. Okay. Graphite for sticky locks. I don't even know how to do that. I've never heard of that. Interesting. Where would you find graphite?
Home Depot.
Okay.
It's a superfine powder you squirted in the lock when you went around.
I'll have to try that. Luckily, I haven't had any issues. As a listing agent, I would always make backup copies of a key and keep it on you, because I have had buyer's agents drop a key like between the slats of a deck and things like that, or forget to put it back in there and you can't track it down. So when I get keys from the seller, I always go to my favorite Ace Hardware and I get 2 or 3 copies made of each key, and then I just give the extra keys to the buyers at closing. Okay, first aid kit, you should always keep that in your trunk regardless. Flashlight level. Oh yeah, I have like 3 tape measures I keep in my glove compartment. People want to measure stuff, so it's always be like, here, let me go get my tape measure real quick. Definitely want notepad, mask, shoe covers, business cards, umbrellas, beverages and snacks, entertainment for kids. I have brought like an Amazon Fire for kids to play games on before. That helps too. So, okay, any questions? Safety first, we talked about safety. So, they're saying our job is to sell homes and not show homes. Okay. I like to think of it as we are helping them make the decision that is right for them. I'm not selling anybody anything in that sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just like someone who opens doors either. I'm very involved in the process, but ultimately it's their decision. So, okay, reasons buyers hesitate. They are afraid of commitment. Oh, that sounds like me. They don't like some minor detail of the home. They feel they haven't seen enough homes. So that's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And they need to sleep on it and or get the opinion of a trusted advisor. Depending on what kind of market we're at is whether or not they can sleep on it. Right now, if the house has been on the market, for a couple of weeks, it might be okay to delay by a day and let mom come and take a look at it. Like, that's okay. 3 years ago, we didn't have that kind of time because it was multiple offers and we're just trying to get stuff in. So you kind of have to play that by ear, and you've got to give them that sense of urgency sometimes that they need, because you don't want them to miss out on the house that they love because they're waiting. And if they are truly afraid of committing to buy a house, then maybe they need to wait on buying a house. I mean, let's just be honest, because they're gonna, if they're, I've had a couple clients where we would get halfway through the process and we'd be losing earnest money because they just couldn't pull the trigger. And, after 2 or 3 times of that, they're not ready to buy a house and they're just losing money hand over fist. So you need to have a come to Jesus moment with them. It's okay to have those tough conversations with buyers. You are their trusted advisor, remember? So it's okay to have those difficult conversations. Okay. Always go back to the motivation. So that's something that you kind of have to figure out in the buyer consultation is, what is their motivation? Are they getting out because their landlord is kicking them out, because they've always dreamed of buying a home, that sort of thing. And so letting them remember what that motivation is can really help with that. Needs and wants, consult a fiduciary, allay their fears, solve their challenges, calculate the cost of waiting. Yeah. Like what I was saying, waiting 6 months, it's going to be harder for them to buy a house. Prices are probably going to go up and they're not going to be able to get closing costs as easily. That's the cost of waiting. Yeah. Okay, any ahas? What time is it? Okay, almost 12. Do we need a break?
How much longer we got?
Yeah.
Now we gotta talk about sellers. The opposite side. About marketing.
We can use a break.
Okay, why don't we take a 10-minute break? Let's come back at 12. That gives us 11 minutes. And I don't know why Adam Sellers is staring at us through the door. Have you guys met a lot of the agents here? Well, you know where you can always find me. If you go down to the end of the hallway, like towards Lori's office, I'm in an office with 3 other ladies, and so my desk is in there, so you can always stop by and say hi. I try to be here between 10 and 2 if I don't have any appointments. That's my goal. All right. Oh. We're taking a break
How long is this class supposed to last?
till 1. I just got one more section.
Is
Why?
this supposed to go to 1?
That's what the stuff they gave me.
Thought it was supposed to be around now.
Okay. You're doing a hell of a job. I like what you're saying. Keep saying it.
Oh, am I doing okay? Because I'm like off book now.
You're actually being recorded.
I know, and they're going to get so mad at me, but you know,
It's editable.
it is what it is.